Oh, God. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and share this. All right. Okay. So first on our list is a customer return that we have to check and see that it's all working. Let's go ahead and put you in the Discord as well. Oops. Yes. My daughter did not enjoy that very much this morning. We'll give it a little bit. Let some people jump in here. I should just pull this out of here. One free order. That's what my employees said to me this morning. Wow, really? There's only 3 people in around here watching? Should I bring this down a little closer? Well, we got 5 people in here. It's amazing. I think I get more people going on Facebook Live than I do through YouTube. What's up, Alex? Nothing much, man. So, first modification we're going to be doing is a buddy of mine, James Bradshaw. He printed out some of these back buttons that Chomp Roth actually made. And we're going to see about installing these bad boys and go from there. It looks like these just clip in. Yep. There's one. Okay, so there's one. There's two. Yeah, but you could just press on the little things right here, the divots, and go from there. All right, so let's see here. We're going to place this in here. This is going to be fun. Should grab my pair of my tweezers. So I take it you would usually glue this together, right? Yeah. So the fitment is actually pretty nice on these. More or less just wanted to see how the fitment of these are. And looks like we're good, at least fitment wise. That's pretty good. Comes out nice and easily. All right, well, unfortunately, I don't really have little things of glue, at least from what I remember. Let's see here. Box of these over here. Oh, I do. Aha, I do. Now the question is, this is actually a plastic bonder, so it should work quite well. That's if I can get it open, because it has been used. I think I've fused it together. Yep. That's kind of pointless. Yeah, that's useless. See if we got a new one. Okay, so I have some epoxy here. Let's see about maybe setting that. Going that route, maybe. Let's see about that. yes, I'm well aware that that is more than what I probably need, but we'll be okay. Because we're going to use the little needle, move it around here, and we're going to set something. All right, so we'll let those sit for a little bit. It says dries in 5 minutes. Sets in 5 minutes, I should say. Okay. So we'll test that out. I just have a test case. I'm probably not going to actually like test it out. Although I guess I could. I do have my so now we got to test this out because the customer was saying that it does not hold a charge. And from looking at it, I think the battery pack is toast. So we're at 1.5. Okay, so I need to find out where I put my battery for the backup. What's up, Steve? How goes it on this night? Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure the battery's dead. Almost positive on that one. There. First off, you can kind of see it's leaking, or at least it looks like it leaked on the side here. And the only reason I say it looks like it leaked, look at that screw head on the bottom there. It's kind of rusted. So that right there tells me that most likely destroyed the battery, but I'm going to replace it because I technically warranty these for a little bit. And the guy was kind of cool enough to be okay with it. So, dealing with messes. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, 3.9, and that's at 1.27. Yeah, she did. So we're gonna take this off, redo it, and then put it on a charger and see if it works. So photos I showed you earlier. Well, there were several photos. I think it had to do with this type of photo. So, or a photo related to something like this. So, if I'm not mistaken. So, for some of you guys that are asking about rechargeable batteries, now the thing I've been trying to work on is nickel metal hydride. These are your standard AA rechargeable batteries that you can find at any store, really. I want to try and incorporate this into a case and have it charge normally. Now, I have my case that has a LiPo charger. It has a TP4056 in it. It does charge these because they are in series, not parallel. So, yeah, it'll charge it, but it'll only charge, well, it'll probably kill the batteries over time, but not physically kill the batteries itself. So, so yeah, these will still be okay. They'll just shorten the life of them more or less. So instead of you getting 100% charge, you might get a 70% charge out of it. So if you're okay with that, then having a LiPo charger in here is not going to be the end of the world. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy and against it, but nickel metal hydride is not as destructible as LiPo batteries, which is one of the reasons why also I'm trying to stay away from LiPo batteries. However, I probably will have an option to have LiPo batteries. I do have AA LiPo batteries. I have two versions. I have this one, and then I have some really, really fancy, expensive ones as well that are, they have like special circuitry in them. So they basically don't deplete under 1.5 volts, I believe it is, or maybe it's 1.2. I forget, but it basically does not go below that level. The only downfall to that is you must line them up in parallel. So that means positive, positive, and positive, negative, negative, and negative. Whereas the current is positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. So that's the only downfall, is you will have to do a slight modification in order to do it. So what's up, Felipe? Yeah. So I do have two circuits here. This one is from an IKEA charger. This one's from a small charger from a friend of mine who found one. And this one's definitely more in the range of fitting in the GPi case. This does fit with a little bit of modification. It'll fit, so it will work. But obviously, this is a little beefier than what we will probably need. This is meant to actually charge both AA and AAA, and then a little bit higher is AA. So I do have charge circuits for them, and I am working on it. So I'm just, just be patient with it, and I'll get it worked out. I'll be honest, my electronic skill only goes so far, and when it starts getting into circuitry and charging and doing things like that, I'm kind of so-so on it. I grasp the concept of it, and I can get something to work, but I don't fully understand how it charges back and everything like that. So I do have a unit wired up with one of these. I do have some batteries that I need charging, so we're going to put it in there. This is my test unit right here. As you can see, it's kind of chilling out there. And yeah, so this is just my test unit right now. So we'll get this up and running. I'll probably end up charging some things on the feed here once I get done replacing this battery. But ultimately, that's my goal, is to get nickel metal hydrate working as a rechargeable power source in the GPi case. Because if any of you people do know, the LADA, as I have right here, are probably your best bang for your buck. Second best would be EBL, and then obviously the Eneloops if you want to go for broke. Literally go for broke, because they are quite expensive. And supposedly, many tests have shown that this is pretty much an Eneloop battery in a different shell. So in terms of that, you know, there's not much difference. So so yeah, if I end up getting this working, I will be selling these as 3-packs as well as a charging module, and basically sell it as a whole package. And you know, just like this customer did, he sent in his case. I modified it. He specifically requested a specific modification done to it. You guys have probably seen it, and that's a charge port at the and this is actually kind of nice if you have a dock, because you could just sit it right there, and that's it. So yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at chat. Yes. Well, here's the thing. It's leaking, but it's not like leaking terribly. So at least it's good. It looks like it's leaking inside of the packaging. So at least that's a plus, because my hands are not burning in any way, shape, or form. I would definitely feel if there was battery acid on them, but I will take the extra precautions and getting rid of it properly. So yeah, lipos are not. I'm not a big fan of lipos. I know a lot of people swear by them, but me personally, I'd rather choose this style than a battery pack. So without further ado, let's get this up and rolling. We should probably tin my tip, huh? When I'll get my GPi, I'm still thinking if I'll use normal rechargeable batteries and charge them outside the GPi, or else charging them inside, or go with the LiPo batteries and the mod. So again, you probably joined while I was just briefly talking about the modification. So this unit that's in here has a LiPo TP 4560 4056, sorry, 4056 charging unit. Okay, this is my personal unit, and great batteries. That's what I have in here. Nickel metal hydrate. It'll charge them, but it'll charge them, like I said, to about 70%. And yeah, it will kill the life of the battery. It's not going to be the end of the world, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to end up replacing these batteries at some point anyway. So to me, it's a small price to pay. But if you're at home, you might as well take them out of the case, throw them onto a specific nickel metal hydrate charger, and charge them 100%, and then you got 100%. My buddy who did this exact same modification, same type of batteries. In fact, his are a little bit bigger. He uses the EBL 2800s, and he said he gets about 3 hours of play on a charge. So I'd say that's a win for rechargeable batteries. Never having to take them out. That's a pretty good idea. So yeah. So yeah, here's if you guys can see that. There we go. You kind of see it leaking a little bit. Thankfully, it's not leaking terribly, but yeah, this battery. As soon as he sent me a video, I was like, yeah, there's something. I thought maybe my wiring was bad, and then I took it out, and I was like, yeah, that's battery acid. It's ruined. So again, the problem that I have with with LiPo batteries is if you drop them, like if I drop this on the ground right now, there's a good chance this explodes. There's definitely more of a chance of this exploding than this exploding. So that's just my 2 cents about it. So okay, he said that he gets 3 hours of play on charging. Here, let me raise this up a little bit so you guys can see me. I know I'm trying to get like a good angle of where you guys can see me working and me talking. See all my goodies up there. I really need to get like a wide angle. Anyway, yeah, so he said that he gets 3 hours of charge on, or 3 hours of battery play on a charge of the LiPo cell, or the LiPo charging circuit. So with that being said, I'd say probably tack on another hour, maybe 2. So not acid lithium, not acid. I don't know what you mean by that, but sure. Yeah. So another modification that me and Adam Forrester are going to be working on, and I have to get with another buddy of mine, you know, whether he wants credit for it or not, that's fine. But we're going to be adding this little bad boy onto one of our units. It's called an ADS. And basically what that will allow is a battery monitoring system on screen. So that way we will be able to see how much juice our batteries have at any given time. So that'll definitely help out. Unfortunately, this will probably require a lot more knowledge and how to on wiring it up than, you know, say a LiPo charger or nickel metal hydrate charger, something that's very simple where you hook one wire to another and that's pretty much it. This will probably require some very extensive work and figuring out, because basically we have to take this is where your cartridge goes in. Okay, so all your pins from your Pi come through here, and then they go into a ribbon cable that goes into. So basically we have to pin out each and every one of these, figure out what's what, connect to it, make sure it's working, and then somehow get it wired up in here, and see if maybe I can like stick it in the top here or somewhere and just have it on this side of the case. I don't know if that's going to be the case, no pun intended, but it'll be cool if it was. So just wanted to show off my super black GPi. There you go. Boom. And yes, this is drilled out for DMG buttons, but they don't really work too well. They kind of googly eye, even with some button wells on there. It's still kind of googly eye, so they don't really work too well if you try and put some DMG buttons in there. I mean, they're playable, but they just aesthetically they don't look very pleasant in terms of what I want. So anyway, let's take a look. I stick with the Eneloop batteries. They last hours. The fluid in the battery. Oh, I gotcha. So yeah, as I was saying, Eneloops, these are basically the same as Eneloops. There is several people online. These are IKEA Lada batteries, and they come from the same factory, supposedly, and they have the same description or specs. There we go, specs, as the Eneloop. So, and these are made in Japan. There's very few makers in Japan of batteries. I believe there's only 2. One is Sanyo and one is Panasonic. And Sanyo usually doesn't do these type of batteries. They usually do LiPo. They don't do nickel metal hydrate, as far as I was told. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but I watched. and how pretty much identical they are in terms of drainage, charging, usage, everything to the end of loop batteries, and they are a fraction of the cost. I can't even tell you how much I paid for them because I got them for free. So I went there to go and get batteries, and I had a what I thought was a 15% off coupon because it was my birthday this month. And when I went there, well, it turns out it was $15 off. So I got a 2-pack charger. So that means you could charge 2 of these at a time, and a 4-pack of these, and it was free. So for all that together, it was like $10. So I'd say these were like $5-6, maybe a little bit more. So love those batteries. How come people don't just use those instead of modding, unless it's just about the fun of modding? Well, here's the thing. People want the ability to have them all in one. So I will agree, one of the biggest gripes about these cases is why not a rechargeable battery? Why not? You know, you could have put something in there, anything, and people probably would have been happy about it. It's a simple modification that could have been done. And really, even if you had to add that into the price of the case, let's say you call it a $90 case, even a $100 case, people are still going to buy these up like nothing, because it is the best bang for your buck, because these are really, really nicely built cases. They're very hard to beat in terms of build quality, in my opinion. And they're pocket sized. I mean, it's a great little unit. So as you can see, this one's got a D-pad upgrade. So a lot of people were asking me about the D-pad upgrade. So let's see if we can try and see a difference here. So now, if you look at this one, it doesn't really stick up too much. So I know that's a big issue for a lot of people. I noticed it right away because I was like, whoa, this is like sunken in. I don't think this is going to work, but it actually works a hell of a lot better than the stock D-pad right out of the gate. First off, there's no movement left or right. So if you try and move this, it doesn't move all that much left or right. So fitment-wise, it is 100% better. It does automatically eliminate ghost presses. So sometimes when you're pressing down, sometimes it'll press right or press left, whatever side of the down pad you're working on, it will ghost press. I've had it happen to me several times, especially when I'm trying to play Mario or like Mortal Kombat, fighting games specifically, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. You know, those games definitely have an issue with that. So I would definitely get the upgrade for sure if you're worried about that, because it definitely does make a huge difference. So yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I pointed out there. Some people are okay with that. Some people aren't. I was going to see about getting a custom one made, but more or less we're just going to take this design, and the guy who's doing custom buttons for this, he's also just going to copy the D-pad. So we're going to have a replacement kit for D-pad and then new button colors. Probably, I would say mid-September. We're going to probably release those, and we're probably going to start off with Super NES colors, because that seems to be the most common. It's possibly we might do like Famicom's, a cast of 40 blue and 40 yellow and 40 green and 40 red, and just do that, and then I can piece them together because people may want different color combos. So yeah, so we're going to be working on that. As for like concaved, right? So the ones that have like a dip in them, like the SNES and Super Famicom, as of right now, that's a no-go. I need to have somebody 3D design something like that so we can make a mold off of it. So as of right now, it's just going to be standard stock buttons that are like on here that pop up. So, so as of right now, there's no plans on making another handheld for a little while. The reason being is they are going to be working on Pi 4 cases. I cannot really say what is going to be coming out, but obviously the only ones that I can really say that everybody should automatically know is all the ones that you guys know and love. Pretty much consider those having renditions of them, and maybe some improvements on them as well to accompany the Pi 4 inside of them. So so I would definitely keep an eye out for those. But as of right now, there is no current plans for another handheld because they were not prepared for the production of these. Now, I know these are very, very high in demand for many reasons because, well, it's a Game Boy, and the Game Boy Zeros themselves are in very high demand. And these are just, you know, easier to acquire because it's very simple to put these together. But I will say that they will come out with soon. So I wouldn't even expect it within the next 6 months to possibly maybe even a year. It's kind of put on hold because they want to make sure that they have enough production for these and see how they go. Like every time I talk with Retroflag, they're pushing so hard every single day to get as many as these things out, and they are still behind, and they are producing thousands per day, and they cannot get them out. Maybe not thousands, but they're producing a lot, as much as they can, and they're trying to do as much quality control. And thankfully, Retroflag has come up quite a bit in terms of quality control. I used to have a lot of issues with the GPi cases, and you know, some of those, most of them were okay, but there were some of them that had some major issues, usually with the boards and solder work and wiring and whatnot. But I usually took care of that while I was doing a modification on them anyways. And they kind of fixed that when it came to the GPi Case Plus, which basically they took the idea that I was using and implemented it, changed it a little bit. They did. And then they pretty much implemented it in every single case, as you can see here, the on-off switch and pretty much any other one. So the I2C pins are not connected to that ribbon. Yeah. So, yeah. So more or less, they're trying to focus on getting everybody a case. Okay. So that's really their main concern. I think they surprised at how much attention these are getting, and they were definitely not expecting that type of level of attention when they started making them or marketing this. So I'm working on a couple different things. I have some custom resin trigger buttons for the back of the GPi case. So we have the standard ones, and then we also have the paddle ones. These are made by Chomp Roth, who is in here. And I had a buddy of mine over the weekend resin print them. Like I have 3D printers. I printed some off in some clear for me, but the clear's been sitting around for a while, opened, so it's not the greatest. In fact, it's kind of crunchy, so you guys probably can't hear it. But if I bend this enough, it'll crunch. So it might be okay in the case, but yeah. So I basically just epoxied these in. We're gonna let these sit for a little bit. I got to work on a customer's case. They basically stated that, hey, after a week or two of using it, the battery was dead. Come to find out that the battery is exploded. And so we're just going to end up replacing it. And this is actually my last battery that I have in stock because I'm going to try and utilize AA batteries, whether it be nickel metal hydrate batteries with a charge circuit or LiPo batteries with a charge circuit. I'd like to try and stay away from this because LiPos are very, very dangerous. And when it's in a handheld, if you do something wrong and they explode, your hands are not going to be feeling too good. And that's basically the same thing that'll happen with this. So I don't really want that happening. Whereas nickel metal hydrate, they probably can explode. I've personally never seen them explode. I've never looked at videos to see if they did either. Yeah, these are definitely a lot more safer in terms of like exploding wise than LiPo batteries. So a lot of people seem to not be happy about the LNR. I think they're perfect. Yeah, I'm okay with them. They are slightly weird positions when you're playing because, you know, like if they were up here, I might be okay. Like if these were L2 and R2, I'd be okay with that. Like having the 4 buttons here, I'd probably be okay with that. But for me personally, it's just slightly, just a little bit weird. I haven't really used them too much, so I usually just use the 4. So. And also, this one has a D-pad upgrade for those who are just joining. So, but yeah, we got a lot of things working on. Like I said, custom button sets, colors. I got a Pi 3 that I got to work on, which I have been working on. Supposedly, somebody got it working. I don't know how. I've been struggling with this thing for a month now, and I still can't get it working. And here's my setup. It's already ready to go. It boots up, and I can get to the main menu, but it asks for button input. And once it does that, we're kind of SOL. So I'm like, okay, I got to figure out what's going on with this thing and try and get it working. So we're going to hook this up right now and get this battery mod done for this customer, charge it up, and then get it up out of here because I've had we're going to cut those down a little bit. You're my hero? That's good to know. All right. So now let's go ahead and test this out. Have charger brought her. Have I used Blast 16? No, I have not. I haven't really gotten around to that. in all honesty. Let's see how this charges. Should charge okay. Okay. So we are at 4.65 volts. So I have this nifty little thing that basically gives me a readout of everything that's happening through the charging circuit. So, so it tells me we are charging at 4.65 volts and just at about 0.8 amps. So not too bad. And I can have 8 milliamps, 9 milliamps, 46 milliwatt hours charging, and I can have a graph to see how it's going. So we're pretty consistent at 4.7. We drop a little bit here and there, and we're just at about under an amp of power. So and it'll also give me the temperature of the batteries as well. So it's kind of a nice little little gadget to have. I actually have 2 of those. This one's a little more intuitive, I guess, or holds more information. So who is working behind Blast? I probably have met him or know something about him. I'm sure we've crossed paths at some point. Being the admin of the Retroflag group, I'm sure I've met someone of the team on that. I know I've heard of Blast 16. I know that there's just so much that goes on with me doing modifications, doing videos, doing internet, and then just dealing with people on a daily basis. I don't really have much time to keep up with what's going on in the community most of the time. So I gather bits and pieces here and there of exactly what's going on. So so yeah, I mean, if somebody has any information about that, that's great. Okay, well I'll search them up here in a second. So another thing I'm going to do, because it kind of off, I'm going to put over Kapton tape over this, so we don't have any issues with heat. Because if you guys know anything about Kapton tape, Kapton, it is very, very heat resistant, like amazingly heat resistant. So. One more for good measure. Should probably grab my pair of scissors instead of doing that, but whatever. I think some of that that battery got on my hand. It feels a little itchy. So yeah. Yeah, not sure that name rings a bell, to be honest. Again, I probably met the person, just forgot like who he is, because for a while my YouTube was a different name. So it's possible that he goes by a different name on the forums or on the groups or whatever. So. Where's that battery door? Cutting the lights up. I just want to make sure that this is okay. Still charging. So I don't know if you guys, you can kind of see that. See the charge light on there. So yeah, not the prettiest work I've ever done. It's not my forte on it, but this is what the customer wanted. So usually we just use the stock charging port for this, and that's pretty much it. So we'll let that charge for a little. Keep an eye on the charging circuit, make sure everything's good. And we'll send that bad boy out tomorrow. Oh, since I got everybody here, I might as well open this as well. So if any of you guys are on the RetroPi group, I had made a post about a brewery that someone was showing off, or somebody else might have did a post about it. I don't remember. I shared it from somewhere, so it might have been that somebody posted it up. But there was a brewery selling like an 8-bit style beer, and there was a company that did glasses as well. And so I decided to order some glasses from them. So we'll get to see how these glasses look. If I can find my Kniffenfluben. That's a knife, wherever it may be. I don't know what I did with it. I put it somewhere like up here. There we go. So let's take a gander at this. Hopefully nothing's broken. Sounds broken. Most likely, sir. But I bet it was something nice, though. All right. All right, so these are packaged very nice, actually. So not only are they packaged in a box, they are packaged in bubble mailers as well. Flat rate envelopes. And they're bubbled and bubbled. Both of them out, shall we? Man, they really package these things. Good Lord. So there's different styles that you can get for these glasses. There's like a wine style glass, there's a beer glass, and then there's a mason jar. I'm always a big fan of mason jars, so that's what I got. So here's one of them. It's a little 8-bit Mario with a fruit or some kind. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So there's one, and it says, oh, you know what? This is that's their logo. That's what it is. Pore character, gently hand wash with cold water. Tag us on your pores. Cheers. And it's got their Instagram and Facebook. So this is pore character, as in pouring. And I think I got a secondary one. Let's take a look here. Maybe I guess I did get two of the same. But whatever. Thought I got two different ones. No biggie. Just means if one's dirty, I can always use the other. So there we go. Really, really nice glasses here. Not bad. Obviously, I don't think these can go in dishwasher because it looks like this is a decal of some sort. So yeah, that's definitely not able to go in there. Yes, they do rock. So now that we've let these sit, let's test them out and make sure that they're okay. Okay. I got some on a paddle. So pretty straightforward. You take them out and then you glue them together and then we replace them. It'd be nice if I put them on the right side. And this should just snap right in here. Again, these are resin printed, so they might take a little more force to get in there, but they should go in just the same. There we go. I like it. I dig it. Don't know if you guys can hear that or not. So these are very nice. These ones I weren't too enthused about because they're not much different than the stock ones. They're just a little bit raised, whereas the pedal ones, they kind of give it a whole different feel to it because my fingers rest a little higher, and so these are like just right in that area where I can tap the tops of them and they tap them. So if you guys have a 3D printer or know somebody or even want me to 3D print it, I can go ahead and do that. I might get a hold of my buddy who did these in resin and see if maybe he wants to crank out some and see if maybe you guys would be interested in them for sale. Obviously, we would kick back to the creator, which is Chomp Roth. Some of you guys have seen him on the group. And yeah, we would just sell them. I really don't know. I'd have to see how much resin is because this would definitely be a little bit more expensive than the normal 3D printed ones because resin is quite expensive if you guys know anything about it. So that's definitely something we'll have to look into. But as long as Chomp Roth okays the sale of these and my buddy's okay, maybe doing some more prints of these, then we can get these going. So so the banana pie is technically dead. I tried getting it set up and I think my banana pie is DOA anyway. I have not gotten it to set up, but I know Crash, when he was still around, he was working on the banana pie. And he said that basically it works, but it doesn't really work. So in a lot of ways it works, but it doesn't. So we do also have a Pi 3 modification. Again, this is a print from Chomp Roth. So kudos to him for making out a little bezel. This one is hard soldered to the board. And basically, I'm just kind of testing it out and making sure everything's good. I have yet to get this working. I've been working on it for about a month. And I kind of set it to the side for a little bit because I had other modifications. And I had customers to actually basically get their cases to them. So that became more priority over anything. But yeah, I mean, if people need, Pi Zeros, I provide Pi Zeros. I provide them in bulk, even if they need them. You just need to give me a little bit of a heads up. I just had a customer buy 10 of them from me in one sitting. But I do have a lot of mods. For those who are just joining, I'm trying to do this will be a simple mod because I already have a LiPo modification. We just have to switch how the batteries are. So if you guys see this, there's the negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So we'll have to switch that around. So one side is all positive, one side is all negative in order for these to properly charge inside this case. And I have to do some tests on that to make sure that everything's okay and they're not too hot and whatnot. And then the other modification is to have nickel metal hydrate, which is your standard AA batteries that you can find at the store, and have those have the ability to charge, which technically I do. I have a LiPo charger in here, a TP4056, and I do use it as a charging for my Lada IKEA batteries. Excuse me. Jeez. So they do work as long as they are in series and not in parallel, because they will probably blow up if they were in parallel. I would prefer this method over the LiPos because, as I stated before, the LiPos have bad history of literally blowing up in people's hands, especially like with vape pens and stuff like that. Now, granted, those are a little bit different batteries, and people put really, really cheap Chinese batteries in there, and that's what happens. So. Yes, thank you. Most of these are actually already going. So I already sell the battery modification. I actually just did one for a customer. So this one was a custom request. He wanted a charge port at the bottom. And we have a 4,000 milliamp battery in there. That'll give you more than plenty of playtime. I want to say at least 4 hours, if not more, of playtime. And yeah, this will be more than enough for anybody, even if they're using a Pi 3. So in terms of that, we're pretty good. I am going to try and get with some people and do like maybe a battery door modification so we can add on more batteries, maybe have 4 batteries instead of 3. But again, that's kind of further down the road. I am working with Rorik's Retro Corner to come out with custom buttons and custom colored D-pads. So different colors for all this stuff, at least these 5 things. This one does not have the D-pad upgrade, but this unit, the customer unit, does have a D-pad upgrade. That is from a Game Boy Pocket. So the problem with that is these ones are really, really loose. So sometimes they ghost press. If you press left or right really fast or down or up really fast, they ghost press the corners. That D-pad upgrade kind of stops that in its tracks. Even though it does feel a little different and it is more pressed in concave, I guess you can call it. So I know I'm reiterating the same thing over and over for some of you guys. I'm just reiterating it because, there's new people in here. I do have some other stuff going on. I tried adding some DMG buttons. For those who don't know what DMG, that is the standard Game Boy buttons onto a GPi case, and sort of works. It looks a little googly eye, but they do press.
I just don't particularly like the way they look. And since I did that, I was like, let's test this out and see how it looks in black. And it looks very, very spiffy in black. So who knows? Maybe I'll be able to do some painting mods to them as well when we get further down the road. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been in the works, and still a lot of stuff that's being worked on. So somebody had already got the Pi 3 working. I just need to basically copy his USB input, because I guess I'm either doing something wrong or he's doing something right. I have no idea, but I've tried for at least a week solid to try and get this working, and it didn't. I even used a Pi 3B B plus, or I'm sorry, a B, and it still didn't use the right things for input. So I just kind of gave up for it for a little bit and moved on. So yeah, there's a lot of modifications and things coming on in terms of GPi case stuff. So we need to work with some people and get a full cover for this. My suggestion was a Game Genie modification, make it look like a Game Genie. That would be really cool, but I do have some extra input. So if anybody's out there trying to design a case for the Pi 3A Plus to fit onto the GPi case, I do have an extra modification that will definitely set it apart over any other thing ever, because it would be awesome to have this in there, and it's a good possibility to have it if we wire it correctly. It's a long shot, but it's worth it if we can get it. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for what I'm going to do right now. I know I said I was going to try and work on this, but this might be a little bit more intuitive and maybe a little more boring for you guys, because I'm just more or less going to be desoldering and soldering this back up. Plus, I have to write a new image because I just took that SD card and I rewrote it to use on this case to make sure that everything's working. And also, I have to test out another GPi image that will be coming out hopefully soon. I can't really say any of the details. It is not my image. It is somebody else who is in the community, and they've been working on it very hard, very extensively. And you know, I do have the ability to test it out prototype wise. But I'm pretty confident that the person knows what they're doing. So I'm expecting not to find much problems, if any at all, with it. So yeah, it'll be nice to have that. So, and we're going to test out some more charging circuits to try and get the nickel metal hydrate working on there. I'll use my little nifty tester here to make sure everything's working the way that it should, and basically get it back up and running and the way that it should be. So thank you all for joining, and who knows, maybe we'll do this again. Maybe I'll do it through Facebook Live or something, and that way it'll be easier for everyone. So again, thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you guys around in the Discord forums or on the GPi Case users Facebook group. So until then, happy modding.